For 20 years, they sold us the same old story. The fairy tale of Iran's _quote_0_. The narrative that sanctions were supposedly choking their nuclear program and everything was under control. Quote, one Washington and Tel Aviv would shout. February 2026. The International Atomic Energy Agency drops not a nuclear bomb, but something worse. A report. In black and white, Iran possesses at least 2 warheads with weapons-grade uranium ready for deployment on medium-range missiles, capable of traveling up to 2,000 kilometers. The billion-dollar question: how did the most _quote_2_ regime in history become the most ungovernable? They monitored every centrifuge, yet they kept spinning. I remember in 2015, all the experts from the CIA and Mossad applauded the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Meanwhile, I was poring over their scientific publications on nuclear physics and thinking, folks, you gave them a breather. But the Persians' minds didn't disappear. They weren't sitting in caves. They were forging technology in Tehran's universities. And here's the result. Their peaceful atom turned out to have teeth, biting like a dog you've kept chained for 20 years while it's been quietly building muscle. Why is this brain explosion happening now? 2026 is the year when all political debts must be paid. Debts of hypocrisy. The US and Israel spent a decade yelling, all options are on the table, but they feared actual war like the plague. Iran, meanwhile, worked diligently in silence. It doesn't beg for mercy, it dictates terms. From a position of strength that we ourselves handed to them through our indecisiveness. Sanctions? Ha! That's like a schoolyard boycott. We're not friends, we won't share our toys. But they built their own toys, independently. And now the entire Middle East is in a new game. But this isn't just quote 7. This is the collapse of an entire system of deception. Watch closely. Now I'll show you 3 figures from the report that will make you understand the region has been turned upside down, and your gas at the pump will follow suit. And its prices won't skyrocket on their own. Threat indicator number 1 isn't politics, but pure physics. Weapons-grade uranium. Enrichment above 90%. The International Atomic Energy Agency report states in black and white 2 confirmed samples. Previously, they spun at 3.67% for reactors. The difference is like comparing a toy pistol to a sniper rifle. This isn't theory. This is a fact from a draft that leaked in February 2026. What does 90% enrichment mean in layman's terms? Imagine you need to find 1 red pill in a jar with 10,000 white ones. Sanctions are when they take away your tweezers and magnifying glass. But the Iranians built a magnet that pulls out the red ones itself. These IR-9 centrifuges are that magnet, a technology that cannot be stopped by an oil ban. They have crossed the pneumonia threshold, the speed of enrichment on new cascades. And the result? Not a year to build a bomb, but a month. Let's do the math. 1 warhead requires approximately 25 kilograms of weapons-grade uranium. At the old pace, this would take years of hassle. According to the report's appendix, with these centrifuges, they can produce this in a month. A month! This means the threat has become serial. Not one scary bomb in a basement, but an assembly line. I initially didn't believe it. I thought it was an exaggeration. But the numbers from the Institute for Science and International Security Analysis don't lie. Check for yourself. And now, the cherry on top. Western media is screaming about an apocalypse. But Wall Street is counting its money. The price of Brent crude oil has jumped by $15 a barrel. Do you know what that means for you? An extra 50 cents per gallon of gas at every station. While politicians panic, oil corporations are raking in cash. The threat is nuclear, but the profit is very much earthly. Hypocrisy? No, just business as usual. Tanker insurance in the Strait of Hormuz surged by 300% in the week following the leak. This isn't coincidence, it's panic hitting your wallet. But these are just minor details. Watch closely. Iran's doctrine, now with a nuclear add-on, will make terrorism even bolder. Indicator number 2. Doctrine. Not just a bomb in a silo, but a bomb embedded in the system. The commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Hossein Salami, stated a key phrase in January 2026. Quote 9. This isn't the Soviet Union with its mutually assured destruction, where everyone trembled at the thought of a button. This is different. This is Middle Eastern poker, with nuclear aces up the sleeve. Iran's nuclear doctrine is a hybrid beast. Imagine. Previously, they sponsored Hezbollah and Hamas with rockets and money, which was proxy warfare on steroids, fighting by proxy to keep their own hands clean. Proxy warfare, if you recall, is like two gangsters settling scores through their henchmen in a bar while they sip beer in a corner. Now, add a nuclear umbrella. A bomb backing them makes these proxy groups invulnerable. A local Hezbollah thug learns his boss in Tehran has a nuclear briefcase and immediately becomes 10 times bolder. Attacks on Israeli patrols, shelling of bases in Syria, all under the protection of the fear of escalation. Iran doesn't bomb directly, but it keeps everyone on edge. A skeptic might say, they wouldn't dare, it's suicide for them. Fair enough for a rational player like us. But Iranian policy in the Middle East is a strategy of controlled chaos. They don't need a major war that would consume everyone. They need a perpetual threat, like a knife at the throat. The bomb isn't for pressing a button, but for blackmail, so that the United States thinks 10 times before striking nuclear facilities in Natanz or Fordo. While they hesitate, allies in the region, Israel, Saudi Arabia, burn in proxy conflicts. Hezbollah strikes Tel Aviv, Houthis sink tankers in the Red Sea. And the nuclear shield makes retaliation risky. Checkmate? Not yet, but the pressure is mounting. What does this mean for an average American like you? A rise in global terror under nuclear cover. When a sponsor like Iran gains such a shield, its proxies become bolder. Attacks on bases in Iraq, cyber attacks on power grids, kidnappings of diplomats, all under the fear of a major escalation that no one wants. Your safety abroad is at risk. The stability of allies is crumbling. Tanker insurance prices have already soared by 300%, meaning oil will become even more expensive, hitting your gas and utility bills. These aren't theories from the International Atomic Energy Agency report. This is logic already at work. But this isn't the end yet. Watch closely. The cost of this failure will hit everyone's pocket, and Grossi's quote will open your eyes. Indicator number 3, the price. The price of our collective failure. And here, I'll give the floor to someone who knows it all from the inside. Former head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, February 2026. Quote 11. Do you hear that? Not spies failed. Politicians. Watch closely. The scheme was simple. The United States and the European Union imposed sanctions for decades to, quote 12, the program. And where did the money from oil sales go? Right, to circumvent those sanctions through China, Venezuela. Shadow banking. Sanctions became a burden not for Iran, but for Western companies that lost market access. Iran, like a good engineer, learned to do everything itself, cheaper and more efficiently. We quote one through them so effectively that they became technologically independent. The alarm is growing. This is not an accident. It's a systemic failure. Let's do the math. The aircraft carrier USS Dwight D. Eisenhower isn't sitting in the Gulf for show. Its cost is $6.5 million a day. That's almost $200 million a month, $2.4 billion a year. What could you do with $2.4 billion? Build 24 new schools, or provide medicine for 1 million people. But no, we spend it on deterring a threat that we ourselves created through our inconsistency. The math is hitting a nerve. The bottom line: your taxes aren't going to roads and healthcare. They're going to the round-the-clock deployment of a fleet off the coast of a country that became a nuclear power thanks to our own policies. Inflation from expensive oil, rising insurance costs, military expenditures. This is the quote 14 that quietly explodes in your budget every month. Grossi is right. It's not an intelligence failure. It's the bankruptcy of an entire elite that pretended to solve a problem for 20 years. And you're paying for it. Every day. Speed up. The next step is the synthesis of all this chaos. Okay, let's pause for a second. Let's piece together this damn puzzle before it's too late. Fact 1. Iran doesn't have one bomb in a basement, but a serial production line. 2 warheads are already confirmed, and new ones will be churned out monthly. Fact 2. This whole mess is integrated into their hybrid warfare doctrine, where Hezbollah and other proxies fight under a nuclear umbrella, and terrorists feel like kings of impunity. Fact 3. We're all paying for this. Oil is $15 more expensive, tanker insurance has tripled, and your gas is eating up extra cents per gallon. Iran didn't defeat us in some movie. It simply outlasted our decade-long game of cat and mouse, and is now writing the rules itself. And us? We're the fools. What's next, you ask? Don't expect mushroom clouds, that's not their style. It will be a dirty, expensive Cold War 2.0 confined to one region. Israel will be stuck in a perpetual state of paranoia, pouring billions into missile defense systems, the very ones American corporations build, again profiting from fear. The U.S. will get drawn into new skirmishes on the fringes to pressure Tehran, from Yemen to Syria, with expenses that will drain the budget. And energy prices? They will roller coaster with every signal from the Strait of Hormuz. Imagine, one incident, and your heating bill goes up 10%. By 2027, this will be the norm. Not an apocalypse, but a slow, suffocating squeeze on your wallet. Your task in this grinder is not to panic. Not to Iranian propaganda, nor to ours, with its cries of the end of the world. When Fox or CNN show flashes and scream, "Hurricane approaching," turn off your emotions, turn on your brain. Ask, who is making money from this? Read primary sources, IAEA reports, maps, figures. They're boring, like an old newspaper, but they contain the pure truth, unfiltered. Don't be hamsters on the wheel of news hysteria. Be those who see the scheme. Sanctions that choke us, a fleet that devours taxes instead of schools, and an elite that has been juggling your money for 20 years. Power isn't just in the nuclear button Iran has hidden away. Power is in understanding the game. They've figured it out and turned our rules upside down. A trick question. When will we start playing by the old rules and start thinking fresh? No answer yet. Keep watching. And for my breakdown of their tricks, watch here on the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown of failure. They're coming. Check. And not quite, mate. Yet.